So it always surprises me how whenever I tell a kid that I like either play a video game or seen a certain movie or watch a certain show, they're like, whoa, you do? Like, because I am 25 years old, I now live under a rock or something. And so it's just really funny because, like, once they discover, like, I had this kid that was like, I'm really excited for my birthday in 6 months because then I get a Switch for my birthday. And I was like, oh, yeah, I love my Switch. I play it all the time. And his eyes were like super wide. He was like, what? You know what that is?
Oh, my gosh.
And, like, the thing is that this is not an isolated incident. It happens pretty much, like, almost every day I'm at work. It's that they're like, oh, my gosh, like, you've heard of the Avengers? It's like, boy, let me tell you. Those have been around since before even I was born. You know, and it's just, like, it's an amazing kind of, I don't know if you've ever experienced that with kids.
Yeah. No, like, not even kids, but, like, high school kids.
Yeah.
Like, a couple years ago when I had to go to China with a high school class and, like, document their trip.
Yeah.
You know, it was so awkward trying to, like, get them to talk to me. And I was like, I'm not that much older than you. Yeah. Like, but don't think that because, like, you need to listen to me. But we can talk about a lot of the same stuff. And so, like, I remember I think somebody was talking about, like, Steven Universe or something like that, which I freaking love Steven Universe. And so I was just like, oh, yeah, I wasn't expecting it when such and such and such and such and such happened. And they were like, what? You watched that show? And I'm like, yeah, it's amazing.
Look how cool I am, I guess.
Look how awesome I am. And it was just like a lot of the stuff that they were talking about. I was like, yeah, I do that too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Like, I
watched YouTube. Like,
one kid asked me today, he was like, do you know what Minecraft is? And I was like, yeah, yes. I've been playing it for a decade. Like, longer than you've been alive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. Just, like, the amount of, like it does, they can't even comprehend it. Like, you see this, like, their like, perspective on life has changed. So.
Well, it's like, the Gen Z generation, it's like they think that they kind of started this digital life, but it's like, no, that started with us.
Groundbreaking millennials over here.
Yeah. We were kind of in the transition period, so it's like we know before and we know after. Yeah, you just know that.
I remember when we first got a computer in our house, and we had to put it in a floppy disk, type in a code, and then it would bring up a game. Those were the days.
Those were the days.
You're listening to Almost Sisters, a podcast where two almost sisters discuss their weekly interests. It's the same thing they've been doing for years, but now they're in front of a microphone, and they're editing it, and posting it with an audience. This is going to be trickier than they thought.
I think the one thing that bothers me most about becoming an adult, other than the fact that I feel like adults just genuinely lied to us about how great it is to be an adult, but
I don't think they ever told us. I think we were just like, man, being an adult must be so great.
Yeah, you're right. They probably were like, no, don't ever grow up. Stop it. We just don't remember. But the worst thing about being an adult is the job market. Because it is the worst. Yeah.
It sucks pretty bad.
Yeah, it's just, I think that the thing that gets me more fired up than anything else, except for the school system, but we can talk about that another time, is the job market. Well, those kind of
relates to the job market.
That's true. So it's just kind of like, I just like, I get sweaty when I think about it. It's just like, somebody's studying throughout this whole episode, just so you know.
Okay. Good thing this is a podcast.
Yeah, good thing. So, Emily, what are your thoughts on the job market?
I think the job market is a scary place. Probably an unfair place.
Yep.
And a place I would rather not have to be.
Agreed.
I remember when I was searching after I graduated and I had an internship, but it wasn't a full-time internship, so I was looking for a full-time job, and it was just the worst time I've ever had is trying to find a job. I hated it. It was terrible.
No, I agree. When I graduated college, I had a substitute teaching job, which I ended up leaving because the school was not great to their substitutes. But then it turned out to be now I don't have a job, and so what do I do? Like there was really no, training, I guess. I'm like, what do you do to find a job? Just figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
And so it took me 6 months to land a job after graduating college. It's like I had a degree, I had honors, I was on the dean's list. Didn't matter. So,
well, I mean, yeah, our job preparation in college was basically, especially in my field, which is more based on your skills than on your qualifications.
yeah.
Basically, our professors were like, the only way you're going to get a job is if you have a good portfolio, so work on your portfolio. But also, do these 10 assignments. And so it was like, nobody had time to make a portfolio while you were in college. And so you had to do it when you were out of college, but you needed a job by that point, because this all goes round and round.
Yeah.
Because, to make a portfolio, you need the software to do the thing you're good at doing. But if you're not in college or have a job, you don't have access to that software and you can't pay for it. So it's like,
Yeah, and then for me, it's like, oh, you're an English major. Just be a teacher. Don't try to do anything else.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God, it's going to be so hard. And so, but I mean, the thing is that I didn't realize with my major is that there's a lot of, finance companies and stuff, like banks and things like that want English majors because no one else knows how to write.
Hey.
But that's not what I don't want to be in the finance realm. And so it's like, okay, either do business or finance or be a teacher. And guess what I'm doing? I'm a teacher. Yay! But I think the thing is that when I first set out, I was like, the only experience I had about the job market was getting my job in college. And that was through the college's, work study thing. And
so it's just like, here's a job.
Yeah. And so
it ain't that easy in the real world, kids.
Not that easy at all. And of course, me getting that job was based off of skill, not what had done already either. So, working as a writing tutor. But now it's like I have all these different, jobs and experience and stuff. But because I don't have a master's degree, or because I don't have 5 years experience, or because I don't have this or that, they immediately just go, nope, we're not even going to bother with you.
Yeah.
So.
I remember when I was looking for that first job, almost everything, even though it was entry-level position, it was requires 3 to 4 years of experience. And it's like, I'm trying to get an entry-level job. Why would I need experience for entry level?
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, I guess I have to intern for 4 years and not get paid enough to live outside of my parents' house. So that's fun.
Well, and that's why we see so many people nowadays going back to live with their parents, or if they don't have parents to go back to, living off of their friends' couches or homeless. And so it's just like there's no... Even though they're called entry level, there's no actual entry point. Unless you're going to just use your degree to work at McDonald's. But even then, everyone and their dog's trying to work at McDonald's because they can't get a job there either. So it's just it goes round and round with the whole 5 years experience required for entry level job. Well, there's highly qualified people who can't get jobs that they're actually qualified for, so they have to backtrack and get jobs that you're qualified for. Yes. So it's just it's madness. It is absolute madness.
It is. That's why I would love to be able to work for myself someday, not only just because I can sleep in until 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. That's where I'm at right now, because I have this job that it's part-time. So I have this kind of freedom, and I'm also married. That kind of helps a little bit. But so I have another income coming in. So I'm able to actually, take the time to build another business and be able to, build a client base and everything like that. But if you're trying to pay your bills, you have to get that 9 to 5 job. You have to put in all those hours. It doesn't ever feel like there's an end in sight. It's... I don't know, it's just wild how much we're required to work, while just kind of leaving all our, dreams and our aspirations and everything else to the wayside of just guess I'm just going to go work for this place because they pay me and I get to kind of use my skills and, Yeah, it's just wild.
I mean, I think I have been incredibly lucky when it comes to jobs that I've gotten. And I think, again, luck has been a giant part of it. Because the first internship that I worked at that actually taught me 50% of what I know, I lucked into that because the owner of the business was also my boss at my part-time job at a kid's gymnasium.
Oh, yeah?
And he was just like, oh, you're a video production major? Hey, I've got my own film company. Come intern with me. And I'm like, heck yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that was completely luck. And thankfully he hired me without ever seeing anything that I could do because I learned a whole lot from that guy. My second internship was also kind of looked into, but it was more of just, you know, it's more of a kind of typical of what you might see for an easy-to-get internship, that it pays, but it's not really challenging. It's more of like, all right, let me teach you guys how to do what what you want me to do.
Yeah.
Like, I could have done anything, and they'd have been like, oh, yeah, that's great, because they didn't know what was going on. And then, like, I was very lucky to get the job that I have now, because it is in my field, and it's very, you know, it's a great work environment, but I know that's not something that a lot of people have the privilege to get. It's hard to find that. And so... all luck.
Yeah.
It's been all luck.
And that's like, you know, people are like, oh man, don't try to be an actress out in Hollywood. But it's like, I feel like I'd have the same amount of luck, you know, trying to be a movie star than what I'm doing now. So it's just kind of like, you know, nowadays it feels like you almost have to, you know, make your own way. You gotta, you know, get your machete out and start chopping through the vines and, you know, just find your way through the jungle. But I don't know, sometimes it can feel for people, and I've heard a lot of people say this, you know, especially about like master's degrees and PhDs, but even for bachelor's degrees, that they regret getting it. Like, it's not even worth it sometimes. It feels like to people, because it's like, oh, well, you know, I got my degree in economics, but they want a finance degree. You know, it's like, even if it's like super close, like, oh, well, I got my degree in journalism, but they want an English degree. And it's just, it can feel to people that, you know, we've been very lucky also with being able to use our majors to benefit our career. But I mean, my husband, you know, he is an insurance broker after majoring in political economics, and like that's just how these things work. I mean, he's in the majority there. We're in the minority of being able to actually use our degrees. But what do you think? Do you think college is worth it?
I mean, I think college is worth it for the experience alone. But I completely understand why people think that getting a bachelor's degree isn't worth it. Because it kind of seems like, you know, it differs field to field as far as like what kind of qualifications you need. You know, in creative type fields, nowadays it's more about what you can do and not your qualifications. So if you can do great stuff straight out of high school, you can probably get a good job without needing a bachelor's degree. Yeah. But at the same time, there's other fields where it's like a bachelor's degree is not enough. You need like a master's or a doctorate to be able to do what you want to do. Yeah. And so I wouldn't say that college isn't worth it, but I would say that the climate for what kind of degree is required is changing. It's either you need to get all of it, or you're lucky enough that you don't need any of it.
Yeah, just go to trade school or get your doctorate. Like, you gotta choose between the two. Yeah, I think that's the thing, because, like, I think my biggest regret with my education is not that I got my bachelor's, but I didn't jump straight into my master's degree. Because it's like, once you kind of step out, and then you try to go into the job market, and the year goes by, and, like, you know, everything happens, and it's kind of like, it's so much harder to get back in, because then you have to think, well, you know, now I'm making money. I have this schedule. I have, you know, my student loans to pay, you know, and you've been dealing with the loans for so long. Like, I've been dealing it for about a year now, paying them off. And it's like, well, I don't want to do more of this. Yeah. So it's just
I remember that being a very strange thing that happened my last year in college when I was about to graduate. People weren't asking me, oh, well, what do you want to do? Where are you going to go work? People were asking me, are you going to keep going? Are you going to get your master's? And I was just like, is this the standard question now? It's like, all right, get ready for another 6 years if you're going to keep going. I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
No, I want to be done.
Right. Well, it's like having a master's in English versus having a bachelor's in English. It's like having a bachelor's in English almost to a lot of people seems like, oh, you graduated high school. You know basic English. It's like, even though I've studied literature until my eyes bled and I know like every grammar rule to the point that I'm a little bit annoying sometimes. And, you know, it's even so, the bachelor's is outshined by the fact that people who teach this at a college level or even sometimes required at a high school level to have a master's, it's like, well, you don't have the criteria yet. You're not ready yet. And it's just like, damn it.
Deep sigh.
Yeah, it's just like, it's so frustrating. So I'm eventually going to get my master's, but now it's kind of like, now I have to like, I can't not pay off my first degree before starting another one.
Yeah. So. I mean, my aunt just got her master's, like, last year.
Oh, yeah.
And she like, went to night school and did it along with her full-time job. And we were all, like, sitting on the sidelines going, be like, keep going, like, throwing her Gatorade and chips. And we were like, you got this. Yeah,
just go. Yeah, and that's the kind of the thing that I'm looking at now is that it's kind of like, okay, well, once I have the student loans paid off, then we're going to have children probably, because that's probably going to be how long it takes. And so then I'm like, well, I can't get my master's degree while we got little kids, and so then I gotta wait till they get high school. Oh, but wait, we gotta pay for their college. Oh dear. So once I have grandkids, I'll probably go back to school. So.
Man.
Yeah. So it's hard. It's hard out there for a English major. But
it's hard for anybody.
It's for anyone. Yeah, I think that's the thing is that, you know, you have to be. In college, you have to be smart, but at the same time, once you've graduated, you have to realize that, I think the thing that I didn't realize was just the amount of time that goes into it. The amount of applications. I actually figured out the numbers for this while I was doing it. That year, I was trying to find a full-time job. I sent out 115 applications. I heard back from 5, and I got 2 interviews. That's bonkers.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like, that is just bonkers. Okay, but I did also hear back from one that wanted to hire me, like, 6 months after I applied. So I already had a job by that point. And so it's just like, I don't understand why there's such a futility around the job market of why it has to be so damn hard. I think that is what this episode really wraps up to. It's just like, why? Yeah. Why are you just the worst job market?
I mean, yeah. It seems like nowadays you almost have to, you know, I know there's a lot of like recruiting companies out there and like companies that are designed to like take your resume and go find you a job. And it's almost like you need one of those nowadays because they know how to navigate it and to like get in there and speak to actual people. But it's just like, unless you work for one of them, how the heck do you know what to do? No.
Yeah, I don't. Like, I think and like what you said with how you got lucky, when I got my full-time job at Capital One, it was a finance job, like I said before, not for me. But at the same time, my resume was on like Indeed or something, and they just happened to like be searching for English majors one day, and mine popped up, and I had writing experience, and so it was kind of a perfect combo for them. And they happened to call me, and I was like, well, I've been unemployed for 6 months, so you betcha, you know? It's just kind of like, I guess so. But, you know, then when I found this teacher job, I quit that. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know where I was going with this.
Like, yeah.
But it's like, it is so much about luck, just being able to have your resume in as many different outlets and just hope that the right job for you is going to come up. Because, boy, have I had a lot of farmers insurance come up to me and be like, do you want to buy a franchise? I saw your resume and I think it'd be perfect. How was my resume perfect? Please tell me that. I don't understand.
I get a lot of these emails, too. Yeah. It's just like, we've seen your resume and this would be a great job for you. And then it's like some title that I've never even heard of, and it's like some kind of finance marketing thing. And I'm like, y'all don't want me in that job. Why are you offering it to me? I'm not going to be able to do what you want. Stop it. Stop. Go away.
I had one that was like, it was like a mailroom technician. And I was like, ooh, boy.
That sounds like so much
That
fun.
sounds like I've hit rock bottom. That sounds like I need to bring a flask to work kind of job. So, Emily, what are your career goals? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I don't know. People ask me this question sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing in 5 years. I mean, I have very vague, non-specific goals. Like, I said earlier, I would love to be able to work for myself someday.
Yeah.
Just because I would like to be able to kind of, I don't know. So my mom owns her own business. And so a lot of the, beauty fog around somebody owning their own business is not there.
Yeah.
And so, I'm tempted to be like, oh, I can make my own hours and I can pick my work and I can, but I'm like, I know it's not that glamorous.
Yeah.
Like, I know that you kind of have to take jobs that you can get and you have to work twice as hard and that kind of stuff. So, but, I think being able to pursue something in digital media would be really cool to do. And I think that there's, opportunities out there, especially in the videography field, because, finding a videography job was really hard because a lot of people don't do in-house videography anymore unless you work for a giant company like HP or something like that. Most companies hire contract labor. So it's like, okay, you can either find one of the few that has in-house or go work for a contract company, which they're very picky about their employees. And so, being able to be a self-employed contractor would be a little more cool because, again, you can kind of search for clients that fit your skills instead of just being like, here, do this. And this is your choice.
It's like, this is your mission if you choose to accept it.
So, and we're working on this podcast and maybe working on YouTube in the future. And so I just think it would be really cool to be able to work in the digital world. Like yesterday, so the Max Fun Drive is going on right now.
Yes, I heard.
And yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? I don't know when it was. But Travis McElroy was just like, hey, for maximum fun, I'm just going to get on YouTube and live stream me cooking some cabbage for an hour. And I was just like, this is his life.
Oh
he can
gosh.
just do this, and he gets paid to do it. And I'm like, so I know that's that would be something that's way down the line, and it's not easily, you have to be, again, super lucky to get to that point.
Yeah.
But eventually getting something like that would be really cool.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Yeah, I think that I think our generation is starting to go much more in the entrepreneur, self-employed route because it is kind of, because of the futility of the job market. It's kind of like, we'd have to work just as hard to get a good job as to build our own company or whatever. But
my parents make fun of that a lot. They're like, you millennials, you don't want to get a job. You want to make your own job. And I'm like, well, yeah.
There's no jobs to get.
Yeah. I can't get the job that I want.
Yeah.
I got to do it myself because nobody's going to hire me to do the thing I want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but at the same time, like you said, starting your own company, being self-employed, it comes with its own monsters. But at the same time, they're monsters that you on your own can tackle. You're not dependent on anyone else around you. Like my dad, the first time, my dad's very supportive, but at the same time, he checks me real quick with things. So I told him about my tutoring company that I'm starting, and the first thing he said to me was did you think about self-employment insurance and taxes and everything? He went through the whole list, and I was like, thanks, I'm glad you believe in me, Dad.
But he's being realistic.
Exactly. But it's the thing that I realized though, I was growing up because I was like, I've thought of all of those things. Check, Dad, I win. So it was the first time.
I'm a big kid now.
I win. So, Yeah, it was like the first time though that I was like, ready for all my dad's like, because he's done this quite a bit. But anyways,
he's trained you well.
He has trained me very well. I was very. He and I were both very proud of myself. But yeah, so mine's kind of in a similar but different sense that I want to be able to be self-employed and run my own business. I want to both be a private tutor, but then at the same time creating Blab and Scribble Studios, wanting to, work on podcasts and YouTube videos and short films and also publish my books and things like that. So it's kind of like the thing that stresses me out most is the fact that I have a lot of different outlets, and the thing is that I can't bring it in. Like, I brought all of the creative projects in under Blab and Scribble Studios, but boy, is it a hefty umbrella of things. So I think right now, why I'm not really sure where I will be in 5 years is because I'm not sure how long getting a hold of all this stuff is going to take, and if I'm going to, need to continue on with the job I have or get something that pays better or, things like that. Just, we're kind of in the phase of our lives where we kind of have to play it by ear. Like, if people tell us, where you want to be in 5 years, it's like, I want to make sure I'm alive, my relationships are still good, I'm healthy, I didn't gain a bunch of weight, and that I'm not homeless, Like, that's what I want. So, yeah, but...
Yeah, because it's like, when you start thinking about, I want to pursue this thing, I want to pursue this other opportunity, I want to pursue this other area, it's like, okay, I need to start doing it. Yeah. But then your regular life and maintaining your regular life gets on the way. It's like, okay, well, when are you going to go grocery shopping? Yeah. It's like, okay, well, when are you going to do your laundry? It's like, oh, well, you got to be at work for 8 hours of the day and then drive to and from and then take care of everything else in your life. So good luck finding time to do the rest of that.
Yeah. I always think to myself, like, when I get off work, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to work on my book. And then I get home, I'm like...
I'm going to sit down and watch Netflix.
Yeah, I just, throw on my pajamas and go, pajama party! And that's it. That's all I do.
Yeah.
Because it's just... when someone's demanding every second of your time when you're at work, it's impossible to switch gears and then think, well, what do I need to do for myself? Instead, you just go, I want to quit life right now.
I need to take care of myself, and myself wants Netflix.
Exactly. Gonna take a bubble bath, put on some Netflix, and then I'm gonna sleep.
But then it's like, there's other opportunities. This might not be relevant anymore. But there's, other opportunities out there and, other things that I see that are, legitimate full-time jobs that'd be like, oh, my gosh, that would be so cool to pursue. Yeah. But then it, takes you far away. It's like, oh, move to New York. Yeah. Move to California. Move to Japan. It's like, okay, how can I do what I want to do while staying here? Yeah,
that's the thing. How can I, go from what I have, what I'm able to give, where I am now, to be able to do the thing I want to do? Because, for me, I want to be a professor. If I could choose right now, what will I do for the rest of my life? I will be a college professor. But guess what I gotta get? A doctorate. So it's like, yeah, sure, I want to get paid $50,000 a year, but also pay $120,000 in student loan debt. That's doesn't seem to even out very well. No, so it's just kind of there's dreams that we have, but then I have I have these other dreams.
What's realistic?
What's not gonna put me into bankruptcy? Okay. So Emily, one thing that bothers me most about applying to jobs.
Okay.
Why, when you submit a resume, do they make you fill out all your information on your resume again? All your education and your work experience and everything. They go, okay, put your resume in. Okay, now put everything that you just put in your resume in again. Yeah. It's and then it's a lot of places I used, you couldn't copy and paste it in.
You had to actually type it out.
I had to type it out. It's it's like they make it painful. Like they're like, how are we gonna make it? Let's try to make every young person in America miserable by trying to find a job, and then it's like, oh, something else we haven't talked about: the fear of winding back in the job market. Do you ever live in that fear?
Yes.
Okay, because like I on a daily basis is like, what if everything fails, and then I'm like unemployed and I can't find a job. Like, yeah. I just...
Like, not even just, like... Yeah. Because there's, like, two different fears to it. Like, there's the fear of not having a job because of, like, needing to pay rent and pay for food and, like, just, like, you know, pay for life.
Yeah.
That's one fear. And then a separate fear is having to find a job.
Yeah.
They're, like, two separate issues.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're both scary, but they both... have their own thing associated with them.
Yeah.
Because finding a job is miserable.
It's so miserable. Yeah, and it's like, and again, like, so you go through this whole process. You put in your resume, then you rewrite everything that's on your resume, and then you write a cover letter, which that, I don't think I've ever had writer's block on anything other than cover letters, where it's just like, what do I write? And it's just like, but, so cover letters, and then once you submit all the rigmarole, then they might go, oh, here's like a test, or here, do like a phone interview, or do this, or do that. And then they're like, oh, well, you can meet with us this time for an interview. So then you go to an interview. Then you get called back for another interview. And then they offer you the job, and then you go, and then the job's terrible.
Yeah, because you can't tell until you actually get there whether it's going to be a good job or not.
Yeah, it's just wild. Like, there was, I was trying to get a job at a hospital, and it was like basically kind of a receptionist job, and so I did the whole rigmarole with the applying, and they made me do this like typing test, and they made me do this other test, and then they called me and they're like, here's an interview. They made me come back 2 times, and then finally, guess what they did?
Pick somebody else.
Pick someone else. So I spent days doing this, and they still picked someone else. Yeah. So.
It's nasty.
Yeah, it's bad. So I think we should end this depressing conversation with talking about our weekly obsessions.
Okay.
Emily, what's your weekly obsession?
My weekly obsession this week is Queer Eye Season 3.
Sounds about right.
Have you... Yeah. Have you ever watched the Netflix reboot of Queer Eye?
I didn't know it was a reboot.
It is.
Oh,
there was the show was originally in the like 90s.
Oh, okay.
And it had a different cast, and so this is like a reboot.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched any of it. I don't even like. I keep seeing it looks a little bit too like not in the gay sense, but just in the general sense, flamboyant. It's very just like, woo, we're having fun, and I'm like, I don't really.
So that's what I was a little afraid of when I first started watching it. I was like, is this gonna be like stereotypical and like not good?
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I have never seen a more positive show in my life.
Okay.
Like, watching that show, because it's very much like, you can do it. You can be great in your life, and it doesn't take that much effort. You're amazing. You deserve love, and like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like, again, I was just watching it, and I was just like, this show is so freaking positive about everything, and I love it. Like, it's a very good show.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Friendship and family and love and just, it's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, I kind of wondered, like, because, like, it's the Netflix, like, I don't know, like, cover or whatever for it, and it's just, like, they're, like, jumping up in the air, and I'm like, I don't know, like, anytime anyone is, like, jumping up in the air in a cover, I'm like, nope, too happy, I can't, so.
Caitlin, you need some positive shows in your life, and you quit watching, like, Game of Thrones over and over again. If you're gonna watch it, you need something positive to follow it up.
All right. Well, hey, but that leads me to my weekly obsession.
Well, hang on. I'm just telling you right now.
Okay.
I might make you watch an episode with me.
Okay.
Just so you can understand.
That's fair. Okay. Then I'll make you watch an episode of Game of Thrones. Boom!
Oh. Okay.
Okay. got really loud.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yeah, what's your weekly obsession?
So my weekly obsession is the show The Good Place.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Have you seen it?
I've heard of it.
It's really good. So
I'll watch an episode of The Good Place. How about that?
No, Game of Thrones.
Dang it.
But okay, so The Good Place is about a woman who goes to what's called the good place or heaven after she dies, but she actually was a horrible person, and she was pretty much the worst. And she's in the place of someone who's like humanitarian, like she like went to third world countries and like fed children, and like she like, I don't know, just like a whole bunch of stuff. And so she has this like soulmate or whatever that is paired with her, and then she confesses to him. She's like, oh, I'm not really supposed to be here. And he's an ethics professor. So he teaches her how to be a good person by teaching her all about ethics and like the different philosophers and stuff like that. And it's just really, I thought when I started watching it, I really just put it on as kind of like, I have nothing else to watch. Like, I like Kristen Bell. Okay, put it on. But it actually, like, it's pretty deep when you think about like the concept of good versus evil and morally good versus like just being good to like get brownie points and stuff like that. So I really like it because they also kind of like go back and forth and show, how the characters were when they were human. And I like it when it's like, oh, they're trying to fix themselves now, but it's like they go back and it's like, here's their origin story. And she was like, she would do things like if she was out with friends and they were trying to pick a designated driver, she would always cheat and like take her name out of the hat, or she would get drunk before anyone could like decide who's going to be the designated driver, and like just like and they would go through things of like, kind of like stereotypical things, so like people who are bad or the worst or whatever. And there was one that made me laugh because you like The Bachelor, but they were like, have you ever watched or something The Bachelor? And I was like, oh no, Emily. But it's a really fun show. There's a lot of actually like twists and turns in it that I usually I'm really good at, like, oh, this is that, that's that. But they got me. And I'm impressed. So that was the thing of that. And that was a thing of that? I don't
I got what you meant.
So yeah, The Good Place is my weekly obsession.
I've actually been hearing a lot about it recently. Like, people just like on social media keep talking about it. And like, The Good Place, because I remember when it was first gonna air. It started airing a while ago. Yeah. And it was one of those shows that I was just like, oh, that ain't gonna last very long. But it's like still running, and so must be good.
It is good. I watched 3 seasons in 2 weeks. So that just tells you.
I will give that one a go.
Okay, and I will give Queer Eye. There we go. I remembered it. There we go.
Thank you for listening to Almost Sisters. I'm Emily.
And I'm Caitlin.
You can follow Caitlin at authorcsloanlewis.com for her blog and c.sloanlewis on Instagram. You can follow me on YouTube at the channel name Emily Painter. Almost Sisters is a production of Blab and Scribble Studios. You can follow all our current and future projects by going to blabandscribble.wordpress.com. You can find links to all of our stuff in the description box. Caitlin, should we do an outro?
No, not today.